From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. You can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and much more coming soon. Tonight's show is brought to you by Mighty Moose Beard Oil Company. It's 100% Canadian, 100% natural, taking care of beards around the world. Visit MightyMooseBeard.com. Don't forget to use promo code SOR2019 today. What's it like having a poltergeist in your house? Can you think of anything freakier than that? Looking into this is Peter Haviland out of Houston, Texas. Peter has been doing field work in the paranormal for over 30 years, and he's an advanced certified clinical hypnotherapist, investigator for Office in Paranormal Investigations for Lloyd Auerbach, co-founder of the Paranormal Research Organization. Peter uses his skills in the paranormal work to look into the poltergeist phenomena by utilizing hypnosis to explore our psi ability and how it affects us in our environment. Then, at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Peter Haviland, it's been a couple years since we had you on Spaced Out Radio, but glad you reached out. We're doing this again. How you been?
I've been doing great. How have you been doing, Dave?
I have been doing absolutely fantastic. And how's the ghosts down in Houston?
They're doing pretty good. Haven't seen anything walking around with guns on them yet, but they still have attitudes.
Oh, I'm sure it's coming, my friend. I'm sure it is coming. Peter, for people who are not familiar with your work, how did you get into the paranormal world over 30 years ago?
Well, actually, it started off when I was about 12 years old. I was watching monster movies in my parents' house, and the room got really cold. My dog turned around and started growling, and all of her hair on her back stood up. I turned around to see what she was looking at, and I saw my grandfather walking down my parents' stairs. I walked over there to kind of look at it, and it was my grandfather, although he had passed away the year before. What I had saw from what I remember is he looked solid, like I would look at you. But there was no sounds. It wasn't anything like anything in the movies or anything that you would see on TV. It was just really silent. No sounds of him stepping, no footfalls. It was almost like a movie, to be honest with you. It wasn't herky-jerky. It was just fluid. He came down the stairs and walked into, of all things, the hallway closet. And I walked over to the door. I opened the door. I didn't think I was going to see him there, which I didn't. But there was 2 big medallions that he brought over from Italy that hung in 2 of the houses that he built in New York. So at that point in time, at that age, I kind of figured that, they were his possessions. So that's kind of why he walked towards them. Wasn't scared. Like I said, my dog kind of freaked out and ran off. But it was at one point in time that I started reading everything I could on haunted houses, on ghosts. Hans Holzer was writing books from late 60s on up to 2000s before he passed. I was picking up his books. I was picking up D. Scott Rogo's books. I mean, a lot of the grandfathers of the study, when all of their books were out. I think the Weiners. I just you couldn't catch me without having a book on ghosts. They called me the Ghost Boy at some point. Just went through school that way. Went through high school. Got really lucky with my psychology teacher. He let me write on stuff on parapsychology, just as long as I kept kind of in what he was looking for us to do. College was kind of the same way. Get lucked out there, and my first case that I ever worked, I was 18 years old, and it wasn't anything that all I could do is observe at that time, and I found a house. that I heard rumor that a lady was hearing a lot of knocks and raps and taps and footsteps on the in and around her house. So I found the house. I introduced myself, and she was very open to me coming in and just trying to see if I could observe something. We became pretty good friends, and I would come over there like once or twice a week. We would sit and talk, and I finally had my opportunity. When she told me she was getting ready to move, her daughter was coming to take her back east because she was getting to the point that her age was it was hindering her for living there at the house by herself. So she was packing up stuff, but she was really upset about moving. And as we were talking, I heard stuff being dragged around upstairs. So I go running upstairs into her library. When I turned the corner, I got hit with a book, and if anything, it was really funny because I picked up the book and it was Gone with the Wind. So it kind of seemed like it might have been something that along the lines of what we were talking about, with her leaving and things.
Yes.
That's what my thought was. Anyway, at that point in time, I really didn't understand the poltergeist model from Dr. Roll and all that at that time. But she said that that she would also hear what sounded like boxes being dragged around, and I never heard that, but I did hear.
Right.
It didn't sound like boxes. It just sounded like just noises. I can't really explain it. But it just went on from there. Got into Lone Star Spirits. They were looking for members here in our area. We got together in 96 or 97. I became the lead investigator for them, and got into hypnosis because I wanted to work with the police. And I got the opportunity to work on some cold cases, some missing children and missing adult cases as well. And it's just progressed from there. I've been really enjoying it.
You could hear the passion in your voice about this. Since you started paranormal investigation, which would have been in the 80s, comparatively to now, what is the biggest changes you have seen in the field, both with investigation technique, maybe the technology, and the people in general?
Well, I could tell you that way back, in the 80s, it was people didn't really talk about what they were experiencing. It was more of a hush hush thing. I think with TV today, it's more open and more accepted now. So, unfortunately, I mean, you have the people that have issues that feel more comfortable to look for help, but then again, you have a lot of folks that are taking advantage of the study to find their niche, to get on TV, to get fame, whatever they think that they can get. There was a lot more sharing, or at least being able to talk to folks about cases and evidence. Back in the 80s, 90s, versus now. Now it seems like everybody wants to find the Holy Grail, keep it, and try to get some money from it. I don't mean to sound negative, but that's just what it comes across to me. Technique, I'm also a private investigator, and I don't know if you and I talked about that or not, but I'm a licensed private investigator for the state of Texas. And I've been doing that now for about 5 years. But a lot of what I have done, I found that I've been doing all along, is I let the evidence drive what the outcome is. Too much I see people going in to try to prove a haunting when you should go in to try to see what is happening. You need to have an open mind. If you go in there thinking it's already a haunting, you're not doing anybody any good. You're wasting time, as far as I'm concerned. So the first thing, I don't know if that sounds negative or anything like that, but it concerns me though. I think a lot of the way of thinking on some of the investigative work that people do is it's not thorough. There's a list of things that you need to go through to cross off, so you know what you're dealing with, so you can nail it down and try to get the best outcome you can. I don't see some of that sometimes with especially some of the newer groups that probably started in the 2000s when the TV shows were out, and they use those folks as their mentors. When you try to talk to them and try to ask them, again, some of the names I mentioned before, who was D. Scott Rogo, Hans Holzer, Lloyd Auerbach, Dr. Cornell, Dr. Barry Taff. I mean, the names go on and on. Even back into the 1800s. Harry Houdini, even he would even try to look into things to see if they were right or wrong. Conan Doyle did the same thing, but when you ask folks these, they don't know that. They just, they come up and say, well, I'm doing it because Zach did that. Well, how do you know what Zach is doing is correct? I mean, right now, what you have is things are kind of split down the middle. You have the researchers, and then you have the entertainment. I don't have a problem with the entertainment as long as it's entertainment, but don't try to broadcast it as that this is the be all end all. It's not. It's entertainment. The researchers are the ones that go in there and they sit in a place for 10, 12 hours staring at a measuring tape, trying to see if a little matchbox car will go a quarter of an inch. That's research. Not trying to go in there and light the house up with all these cameras and stuff, and with prototypical equipment that will either find something or not find something, because it's never been the prototypical equipment has never even been tried, or has it's been standardized to even find anything. And from what I've been seeing from some folks that have been testing the prototypical equipment, a lot of that stuff is just bogus anyway. I mean, you're paying, $200-300 for something that is probably something that you could have bought at a toy store. It's just frustrating.
It is completely frustrating in the field, and there's still a lot of issues in the field of paranormal that I think, for the most part, people are doing their best on their own to try and clean it up for themselves, which I think is a good thing. It's not as much, it doesn't seem that there's as much drama this year and even late last year comparatively to the last 4 or 5 years going on in the paranormal field. But I mean, yet again, though, you hear stories, and we'll have a story on the Newswire tonight about a paranormal team breaking into the home of a deceased man who passed away, and they believe that house was haunted, and they break into the home illegally because they want to investigate it, and they get caught. I mean, it's little things like that that really, really take the seriousness out of what people like you are doing and trying to do real, true research.
Yeah, I mean, I never really did understand the thought behind the story that you're talking about. Even going into graveyards when they're posted, folks don't take the extra time to get permission. They just go in there because they think that they can, because they're trying to do what they're going to do, and they don't think that anybody's around, so they can go in there and break in. It's absolutely wrong. We had a place up here called I can't remember the name of it offhand.
Not sure. Still, for some reason Skype cut out because. There you are.
Okay.
Now we got you back. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. The Jefferson Davis Hospital here in Houston, was an old hospital, and it was posted, and there was a chain link fence around it, and the city of Houston didn't want anybody to go in there, but every night I heard from the police department out there that they would have to go out there and repair the fence and repost it because people were actually cutting the fence and removing the posting signs and going in there and roaming around. Now, there were several different things that had happened in there. One time they did arrest some people for going in there. Another one was that they burned down, of all places, the when the place they do the cremations. There was a cremation center over there. They burned down the cremation center with because they were trying to set a fire because it was cold out there. Another thing was that somebody had gotten accosted out there by one of the homeless folks out there, because the homeless folks were going in there for shelter, and they ran up on them. And I don't know if they got robbed or not, but they definitely got the hell scared out of them. And but they even had an e-group at one time, to tell you how far back it goes, is that that they would post all the stuff in there, and it would be of course it was against the law. Me personally, I turned in the e-group to let the police know that these people were going in there, and these people thought it was a badge of courage to go in there to try to look for these things, and it just really, I just never really understood the thoughts of that. If you're going to do it, do it the right way, because even the most unseasoned team that goes out there to do this stuff, you're still representing the field, and these folks are the ones that are getting arrested. You put a black eye on everybody, and it doesn't help anybody.
No, I can understand that. I can appreciate that. But that comes to experience too, because a lot of people, as we said, are learning what they are talking about and investigating about through television. Because there is no schools, there is no investigation, and very few know. They think, well, that looks like fun, that looks like a good hobby. Let's try that out. That's something I'm interested in. And that's what they're using for education is the television shows. And you can't blame the people, because they just can't go to their local community college or university to study up on this. And you got to learn the names. You were fortunate. You got to work with some very big names. You asked some very pointed questions, Peter, and it worked out for you. Not everybody is as fortunate. And it is too bad, because you should do your homework. That's the one thing I learned about coming through this, is you should do your homework and try and learn from the top people. Talk to the top people and see where they're going. But when the top people in the paranormal are mainly television show hosts who are mainly about getting paid and entertainment, I'm not saying that as a shot, okay? But I mean, they're grateful enough and gracious enough to make a living off of something they love doing, and I will never ever crap on anybody for doing that.
I won't either.
But there is a difference. There is a difference between, what are we trying to solve? What are we trying to get at here? Is it about getting freaked out as a weekend warrior and maybe getting a few scares, or is it more about trying to solve these lifelong issues that have been and questions that have been going on for centuries about is there life after death?
Well, I think it's a combination of both, actually. I mean, when you see some of these shows, people want to go and experience what these folks have experienced, or what has been reported that that's happening at these places. So, yeah, I mean, you have people that go out, and the adrenaline junkies, want to go out and get scared. They're also the ones that'll pay the $1,000 to go to what is that place in Kentucky?
Is that Waverly Hills?
Waverly Hills, yeah. You have to they want $1,000, 10 people, $100 a piece, so you can walk through that place. And and that's to me that's crazy. I mean, to me they call that an investigation. That's not an investigation. An investigation is a controlled. It's controlled. You have no controls there. It's basically a tour showing you what people have experienced, if they experience things there at all. But if you continually see people reporting things, what's to say that you might not be projecting what you want to see, and what you think you see might be something explainable, but it might look like what you think it is, and then all of a sudden now you've seen a ghost. Well, how in the hell do you know you've seen the ghost? You don't know what the hell you're looking at most of the time. When the photographs, I've seen way too many red circles. Look here. It's incredible. I've had people come up to me that will show photographs that they've taken in the woods, and they see things in the trees. They'll make connections. They'll connect the dot to dot, and they'll say, "Well, can you see, I don't know, Jesus Christ in this oak tree?" No, actually, what I see is leaves. That's my opinion. But then they want to get argumentative. Well, no, it's here and here and here. And it's like, well, I'm sorry. I said, it might be a great shot, and I'm not trying to take anything away from it, but you're asking my opinion, and if you don't want to hear my opinion, why did you ask? I don't know what else to say about stuff like that. EVPs. When you're dealing with EVPs, to me, an EVP is subjective. If you have to filter it down to the point that it sounds like robot talk. They tell me that you have to have a special ear to hear it. I can understand that to a point, but some of the best EVPs I ever heard came from Sarah Eastep when she used to record in Point Lookout, Maryland, with her shoebox recorder, and they were blatant. You didn't have to filter it down to the point that it sounds like the Tin Man. I think people try too hard. There's nothing wrong with having an EVP that is well within the frequency range, but everything doesn't have to have a sound bite or story or something to it. It could just be a sound caught within spec. It all kind of just all ties into one big mass, I guess.
We only got about 25 seconds here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour, Peter. And when we come back in the next half hour, I want to get into poltergeists with you.
Sure.
Because this is something, I got to be honest, I would love to see it. Maybe I'm too wishful in thinking. I haven't seen that. I've experienced a lot of things out there, but I have never experienced a poltergeist. I'd like to see it once, not in my house. I'd like to go to somebody else's house and see it. But we're going to get into why they happen, what's going on with poltergeists. Peter Haviland is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, paranormal investigator out of Houston, Texas. We'll be back with more SOR right after this. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us, including Gene in D.C. Hi, Gene. Do us a favor. Give us a call sometime. Thank you for listening, bud. Appreciate it. Now, want to say that if you miss portions of this show or others, you can always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we got a plethora of features for you, including reading up on the SOR Newswire, updated daily by Captain Shirk. Tonight we are talking poltergeists. Our guest, paranormal investigator Peter Haviland out of Houston, Texas. He has been investigating the paranormal for over 30 years, and he specializes in going after poltergeist cases. Peter, welcome back.
Hey, how you doing? It's great to be back.
Let's start with the definition, my friend, for people who may not know. What is a poltergeist?
Well, poltergeist actually means noisy ghost in German. And when Dr. William Roll came up with the poltergeist model, we had found out that it is actually something that we create as people, either through stressful situations or things that have happened to us that were traumatic in the past, and that are triggered into our environment by senses or by people or a person, and they mimic haunting activity, but it's actually our subconscious placing that out there into our environment. It's kind of like a psychic temper tantrum, and there you could see things move, you could smell things, you could feel things, you could see things. It's the most fascinating things I've ever seen. Actually, I've had the opportunity of working on quite a few poltergeist reports. Most of the time I find out that it ends up being something that's normal, but there have been a few cases that I've worked that have actually been poltergeist phenomena, and have experienced some things from those. And usually to see how to explain a little bit further about how they react, let's say that you are having a heated discussion with your child and about washing the dishes that day, and she decides that she doesn't want to do that. You have an argument, she storms off. And let's say 5-10 minutes later, in the area of where this activity happened, where the argument happened, there might be dishes that fall down to the ground. There might be glasses that might fly across the room. It's all based off of that energy that was placed in that area, and usually the person that is the one that is manifesting it in this way, it would probably be the child, not specifically because of her being a child, but just because of me trying to explain this to you, that the person that had the argument with her mother, triggered off whatever is going on with her, and subconsciously she made all that stuff move, either through anger or whatever subconsciously she had to release. Does that make sense?
It does. So what would keep a spirit angry that they want to continue that type of activity on this side?
Well, it's not a spirit. It's us. The poltergeist is us. It is what we create. It's not a ghost.
It's not a tulpa. Is it a tulpa then of some sort?
I don't know what that is.
A creation of our own mind.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's from ourselves.
How are we doing this then?
I really don't know. I don't know how it happens. I just know it does. And the reason why I know it does too is that I have worked with folks that have had activity happen. I have looked at the subconscious with hypnosis and found what might have been triggering things, and I have removed them, replaced it with a positive reality, and I've had hauntings stop. So this way, I do know that it's something that is being created. Now, I don't know how it goes from point A to point B. From what I know so far, is I don't think anybody does. It's the whole idea, even with ghosts. When people are measuring activity for ghosts, you're not measuring the ghost. You're measuring the environment around the activity. You're not measuring the ghost that might be in the middle. That's kind of where we're at this moment. With the study, we don't know what ghost is. We don't know how a poltergeist phenomena happens, but we know it does.
Interesting. Because I always thought it was spiritual activity, pissed off ghost, or something malevolent.
That's something totally different too. If you have an intelligent haunting, that is the conscious mind that has survived death. So now you're dealing with the personality of the person that passed. So you might not be dealing with the whole person, but you might be dealing with shards of his memory. So, at that point in time, then, and it gets kind of weird at this point, but even at that point, when you're dealing with the intelligent haunting, you could be dealing with poltergeist activity there too, because now you're dealing with what they've dealt with and what they want to manifest in because of whatever happened to them. Does that make sense too?
So is that energy, in your best assumption, because as you said, it's happening, you don't know why it's happening. In your best assumption, right, would that be something along the lines of something within us taking our biggest fears, our biggest frightening motives, and trying to make them a reality?
I don't know if it's trying to make them a reality, but it is. I say, lack of a better word, broadcasting it because of whatever has triggered that emotion that's deep seated, and just placing it out there. Usually this happens a lot with folks that internalize a lot, that they haven't gone to like a counselor or anything like that and try to work issues out, so it stays within themselves and manifests. Whenever the right time comes up. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, it can be something pretty incredible, actually. In a researcher standpoint, to the person it's happening to, it's hell on wheels. But for instance, I was working one time with this lady that had just gotten out of a divorce. And she was living with a gentleman that her husband that this was back in early 90s when the internet cameras first came out, and I think the cameras he was using something called an X20. And it was one of the first internet cameras that you can log into wherever you were to see what's going on at your house or whatever you had put them up. And her husband had put these up all around her house, and he would call her and just constantly harass her. I thought you were going to do this. Why are you here? I thought this was going to happen, and just constantly and hammer her with this stuff. So she finally divorced him. And moved into this house that she was going to flip to try to make some money back from the divorce proceedings and all that stuff. And how that stuff goes. You give up half of your junk and all. So she calls me because as she's there in the house, she's hearing a lot of rappings and tappings and scratches in the walls and things like that. And she didn't know really if it was haunted, but it was freaking her out, especially because of the background that she came from, that she was just really hypersensitive. So I came out there, and then she's telling me all the what I've just told you. And and this is right when I had just gotten done with some hypnosis, with getting my certification in hypnosis, and having learned the hypnosis, I learned that, what stress can do. I learned, and having studied also Dr. Roll, and I kind of started putting two and two together about what our body goes through with stress, what it can do, what poltergeist activity was. So I started experimenting with hypnosis, and I asked her. I told her, I said, I can do this. What I can do is I can place you under hypnosis. I can remove any and all causes of why you are insecure in your house, and let's see what that does for you. So I placed her under hypnosis, and I did that, replaced it with a positive reality that any time that she felt insecure, that she would feel more and more secure every day, and so forth and so on. And once I got done with it, it was like about a week that I hadn't heard from her, and I called to check on her, and she told me that all of the noises had stopped. That she was comfortable in her house, and so I'm like, okay, chalk one up for using hypnosis for this poltergeist activity. And from there, I mean, I worked with another lady that was having issues with. She had problems with men. And anytime she got really close to a gentleman, she had been raped earlier in her childhood, and so anytime that they were trying to become intimate, she had started feeling what had happened during that rape as she was when she was younger, and she would have basically the rape play physically on her again. And I did the same thing with her, and everything was fine after that. And so I was like, okay. And incidentally, dealing with that case too, that was the first time that I had ever used a FLIR camera, and had an old FLIR camera at the time. It was a land camera. It was black and white, and black. I think black was cold, white was hot, and gray was the different levels in between. And at one point, when she was going through one of these, she called them fits, she was pointing in the corner, and she said, I could see, I see a black mass over there. So when I went over in the corner and I looked with my FLIR, I saw this mass, and I moved, I moved my head away from the eyepiece, and I looked, and there wasn't anything there, and I put my head behind the eyepiece again, and it was there. And I'm like, I'll be damned. So I could see this mass that she was seeing. And right after I did that, and I put my camera down, I kind of walked over there, and I felt a little bit of the coolness that she was saying that she would feel whenever it came close to her. And at that point, I got a gut shot to put me down on one knee. And evidently, I got a little bit too close to what to the manifestation she was placing out there. The manifestation ended up being the person that would watch her before she got raped. After I placed her under hypnosis again, we kind of described what we went through. So you and I were talking earlier as well about poltergeists and stuff like that. And I had told you also I had been bitten one time, and that case, there was a gentleman that had some type of improper behavior placed upon him. He would never go into it, what it was, but he was at a camp. He was at a church camp, and evidently somebody had done something to him that he was very uncomfortable with. And and also too that anybody that had any authority or like an authoritative figure would make him manifest things to move or physicality. And even his wife was telling me that she experienced some of that too, even when they had arguments. And I was putting up equipment and stuff to try to monitor the area, and I was giving direction to teammates. I guess he took that as being authoritative, and I guess it made him feel uncomfortable. I felt what felt like a bee sting on my back, And then my back went just ice cold. And I said, I think I've been bitten, but I don't know by what. And I said, could somebody look at my back? Because I was moving. I had something in my hands and I couldn't do it myself. And they lifted up my back, and I had what looked like child's bite marks on my back. And that freaked me out. I got a picture of it too. And he eventually went for some counseling, and I've heard from him that things are more positive for him as well. And that's been like about almost 10 years ago. So it's been real fascinating so far. Of course, I get the phone calls and stuff like that about people experiencing things. Some of the big things that I get is they think that there's demons in their house, and they watch TV, and they see the latest ghost star going into a home, and they think that there's something there, and then they experience something that's kind of similar to their home, and so they tell me that it's a ghost because so and so said it, and then when I come over and I find out that that it's either it's either something that it's misidentified, or it might be something to do with the house itself, or it's something something regular. I've either told thank you, or they get argumentative because they think it's still there, and and at that point in time, there's not a whole heck of a lot you can do. If they believe it's there, then to them it's there. And there's not a whole lot you can do at that point, because they're looking for somebody. They're looking for somebody to. Go ahead.
Sorry, Peter. I'm just trying to put my head around it, because you say it's somebody who is somehow giving the energy off to cause the symptoms of a poltergeist and poltergeist activity. I don't quite understand how that works, considering, let's say you're sitting in the television area watching, Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune or whatever you do, listening to this show, hopefully at night, and then all of a sudden you got cupboards slamming in your kitchen 2 rooms away, and everybody else is asleep, or you're the only one left at home. So I'm very curious on how that energy manifests out in order to try and make these, I'm going to call it, paranormal activity happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you have to find out exactly what's going on. You have to look at the trends of what happened prior to. You have to look at who was in the house, or what the activity was. The trends are a big thing that will show you either you're dealing with something that's intelligent and doing it versus poltergeist activity and having it done by the person manifesting in itself. So you still have those two things that you have to look at. And what I found is a good tool, again, and it's using hypnosis to find out, looking at the event, finding out what the person was thinking about, and what they experienced, to see if they are themselves manifesting it. And if they're not manifesting it, then I usually bring in a medium to try to get in contact with the energy itself, to find out if you're dealing with something intelligent, and then to find out why they did it, and to see what they're trying to accomplish having done it. So it's a real fine line between the two. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see that. So on certain aspects, if I get this right, it can be self-created. That's one of the theories. But number two, the house may be haunted, and because of that energy, it may send whatever spirit in the home off to do these things.
Correct. And when they're usually when a spirit that is intelligent that is doing things like this, it's usually because of some reason. It's usually to get somebody's attention. It might have started off in something small, making noises, maybe hearing a voice, maybe even seeing them, to let you know that they're there. And if they can't get your attention that way, then it's sometimes, if they can get the energy up to do it, then they'll do something a little bit bigger to get the attention out there. Now, when you do use a medium to find out, if it is intelligent, and if it is, and you try to ask why they are doing that, is it for a communication? And usually, like I said, usually it is. Just because they want to communicate doesn't necessarily mean that we can sometimes help them out, because what they would want to communicate might have absolutely nothing to do with the person that's there. It might not even have anything to do with the house itself. It could be something that's tied to the land, and whatever they need to have done might not even be able to be done. And that's when you try to have your medium to do a psychic rescue and see if you could call somebody from their family from the other side to walk them over, if they will go, and try to pass them that way.
Peter Haviland is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, talking poltergeists right now. How much trust and faith do you put in psychic mediums? Because there are a lot of people who claim psychic ability, and there are a lot of people in the paranormal who don't appreciate that intuitiveness. But there are some out there who also like having a psychic on their team, but really, really limit them to what they can say or do for the fear of, taking over an investigation as the be-all and end-all, because sometimes the evidence points differently to what the psychic has to say.
Well, see, that's where I'm at. I use a psychic as a tool, okay? I don't tell them anything. It's up to them to give me researchable points, names, dates, places, events. I don't allow them to talk to the clients. I don't allow them to talk to the clients after they're done. I make sure that I'm reporting everything that they're doing while they're there, because sometimes you can get phenomena or EVPs as they're walking through. It also shows that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. You have a control over it, and if anybody says something was done, you have if somebody was doing something outside of what the medium's doing, you have that control of, she was the only one there, she was in the room. You keep the room in view, so everybody can see that everything's above board. Now, if she can't pull up names, dates, places, and events, I try to see if we can drill into it by prompting her, at least, by saying, are you feeling a male presence? Can you drill into that male presence to see if you can get something, or can we get somebody in here that can help? I try to monitor them as much as possible. This way, if they're in stress too, I can also remove them. So I don't want anybody getting hurt.
Right.
While they're doing things.
Right. Peter, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because that was a fast first hour on Spaced Out Radio. Peter Haviland is our guest tonight. We're going to continue talking paranormal, poltergeists, some good haunted stories. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com. Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Pleasure to have all of you with us. Hi to everyone listening in on KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, in New Orleans 107.7 FM UPRN, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, and down in Dangerfield, Texas, we are on KDNF AM 1560. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Nomology. Nomology is your password. He thinks that will bug me, but I am one with the gnomes now. One with the gnomes. So, the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, which is updated daily. Peter Haviland is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're talking paranormal, poltergeists, and anything else weird that starts with the letter P tonight. Peter is out of Houston, Texas, been investigating the paranormal for the last 3.5 decades. Peter, welcome back.
Great to be back.
Great to have you here as well. When you have a spirit in the house that is acting up, let's say it's moving objects, and it kind of leads into our thought of the day today about, experiences in your own haunted house. And there was a lot of comments about people who are missing drinking glasses, missing cutlery. What does that mean when that happens?
Again, it's probably some type of wanting attention. What I have heard, there's something called an apport. What an apport is when things come from the, lack of a better term, nether, and they bring things into the area that they're in, and then you have I think it's called a deport when they take things away. I have heard and have experienced people looking for things in their home and finding an area where some of these items are all collected into one area or one place. Why it happens that way, I have no clue. I don't know how it happens. The only thing I can think of is that maybe it's a dimensional thing. And it brings it from our dimension to the dimension that they're in, and they place it to where they want to put it in our dimension or their dimension. How that works, I have no clue. That's the best definition I can come up with.
Well, I want to ask you this, because over the weekend I did a ghost tour at my local museum, which I do every couple weeks to raise money for it. Nice and haunted there. Very nice and haunted. Cool. And anyways, one of our guests asked me about how do we know where they are? How do we know if they're dead? How do we know if ghosts really exist, and where do they exist? And the idea of dimensions came up, that we don't know if you're a religious believer. We don't know where heaven is. We don't know where the other side is. We don't know.
We really don't even know what conscience is.
That is true. And I gave the example of one of the times we were on a paranormal investigation up here, and we ran along the old Gold Rush Trail. Through our investigation, we ran into a husband and wife who were Chinese, who had come over on a boat to Vancouver and then took a paddle wheeler up to Yale, British Columbia, in the Fraser Canyon, bought a horse and buggy, and started making their way up. And as we said goodbye to them, we couldn't figure out why they were leaving until we figured, okay, let's put two and two together. Let's go back in time. Okay, two people. They probably have a horse. They probably have a buggy. And when we moved off the path, all of our K2 meters, and we had about 9 K2 meters watching this, as they passed us, you could see the K2 meters going off like they were walking down the trail again. And it made me wonder, that experience, whether or not that dimension is in that time zone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. And
your thoughts.
That could be what's called place memory, and depending on the emotional, the emotions that are playing off of what had happened at that time, or what any events that had happened at that time, it is placed into the environment, and our psychic selves can pick that up. Now, if it's meant for everybody to see, everybody will see it and experience it. If it's meant for one person to see, that one person can see it and nobody else can. It really just depends on the energy that is projecting it to show, for people to see what is happening. Now, if that was an event, that seems like that would be a great event. I mean, that's something that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm very curious in regards to this whole dimensional thing, because as we try and break down and determine what the paranormal really is, do we not have to be studying these dimensions, whether or not they are continuing on different timelines?
That's a possibility. The problem is that the way that the study is right now, we don't know how to do that. I mean, and if we do, it's being studied at a different level than what I'm aware of, which doesn't mean that I know everything. I don't, but the scholars would probably be able to have more input on it than I would. I mean, I tend to burn up, Lloyd Auerbach's phone a lot when I have questions, because he's my mentor. So there's no problem. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. That's what we all need to do, is to ask questions. Once you assume that you know everything, then you're pretty much stale.
So what are we looking for then, Peter?
What I look for is, I guess I'm going back to what I had mentioned earlier, is I study the trends, and the trends can sometimes go into a way bigger picture. When you start looking at the bigger trends, it's like, okay, I'm experiencing this at this house. Then you look at the trends over the houses in an area, and then you start looking at where the houses are and what they're on, and you start breaking the trends out to larger and larger areas, and maybe you can find out that a specific area has these specific hauntings or activities going on versus a different area. I mean, it's all trends. It's all trends.
You sound as confused as the rest of us.
Yeah, well, it's yeah. I mean, we're not. To be honest with you, nobody's going to know everything until we're there. So you just keep hunting and pecking. I mean, that's all I do. That's all everybody does, really.
And I think that's okay.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
No. It makes a lot of sense, because I do believe that too many times we seek the answer when the real answer is, I don't know.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that.
So why do we have such a tough time saying, I don't know, in this field?
Ego. That's the biggest thing I've seen is ego.
I would hidden agendas. I think that's fair.
Hidden agendas. Yeah, hidden agendas. There's a lot of folks that are out there doing in the study for the wrong reasons. I don't have a problem with folks getting on TV. And it sounds like I do, but I don't. The only issue I have is that let's keep things above board and call a spade a spade. But other than that, entertainment is needed. And at some point in time when all this entertainment started coming out, it started bringing some light into some of the work that other people have done, and that's fine. But we need to know what entertainment is and what research is, and what they both do. And there might even be a little bit of a gray area that they both fall into. But just know what you're dealing with.
All right, let's get to a couple questions here from our audience. Joey has a couple for you. He is asking, do you consider high emotional stress a trigger, not specifically supplying the energy for RSPK, but rather for a focused subconscious intention?
Yes, I do. And what is happening here with like a high stress, when you're seeing that as a trigger, what that trigger is doing is feeding the subconscious, and whatever that traumatic issue was that happened, it's feeding that to play to the brain to manifest the poltergeist activity. So yes, I do.
All right, let's get to his second question here, where he's asking, during a hypnosis, hypnosis revel, do you find that the client's precognition and an associated top-down processing are agents for some poltergeist manifestations?
Yes, I do. And what I'm looking at is that for instance, if we have an event that had happened on October, let's say Halloween, October of whatever year, okay? So I go into that and I said, okay, it's October 31st of whatever year, and I start going through time blocks. Okay, it is now 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. What's happening now within that area? And I break it all down until we get to the point of what that event was. And then when I get to the event, I said, okay, now explain to me what you're doing during this event. And I have had people tell me that they're experiencing the event, that they feel an emotion of sadness. And then when they tell me that, I said, okay, what's causing the sadness? And then sometimes they'll tell me, well, I'm 9 years old and I fell off a chair and it was very traumatic. And so now I'm getting, okay, so for some reason at this age, they fell out of a chair and they're having this high emotional, issue. So now I have to look at, okay, so what is happening around them to make them remember this to maybe manifest in the area. And then I'll ask them all the questions around it to pinpoint it. And then that's when I will remove that to remove the possible poltergeist activity. Does that answer the question for Joey?
Sure. Sounds good. Hey, I got a question. Okay. How do we trust the communication that we get on the other side? Because normally we can't see it, we can't smell it, we can't feel it. At times we can't even hear it. We're going off a communication of little lights that are flashing to yes, no questions, that sort of thing.
First of all, I'm not a real big fan of the K2 communication. There's just too many things that can go wrong with it. And you had asked me earlier about mediums. How do I trust them? Now, I have like 2 mediums that I use, and I have a relationship with them that goes back 10, 12 years. Okay, so I use the same people. When I brought them in, I brought them to an area that I knew what was going on, and that I knew what the history was, and if there was any communications that went there, I knew what they were. Now, I walk them through the area. I don't tell them anything. And if they start pulling up the same information or getting into deeper information that feeds into what I already know, then I'm getting confident on what their ability is. I've brought mediums in before that can't even connect into the energy that's there, or I've had them come off with just the weirdest stuff that you could think of, and I just don't use them. So that's why I only use 2 mediums.
Peter, you're coming in a little bit muffled right there. So
okay, all right.
Yes, thank you so much. In regards to the mediums that you are dealing with, and you have that relationship, you have that trust and aspect, but for the most part, a good medium is tough to find when
yes, they are.
There are so many people these days. I mean, everybody and their dog is becoming a psychic medium, doing readings on Facebook. I remember we had one lady who used to listen to our show in the chat rooms, and she listened for a few weeks, and, she added me on Facebook, and it's all cool. She never said anything that she was psychic. Every time we had someone intuitive on, she would ask questions. Well, the next thing you know, like 6 months down the road, she's a full-on psychic medium, giving readings and all sorts of things like that. And maybe she tapped into her intuition, but to me that seems a little bit far-fetched to be doing that. And
I would be real skeptical too, to be honest with you.
But there's a lot of that out there right now. Everybody wants that to be that communication gadget.
Yeah, I know. And a lot of it has to do with, attention. A lot of it's attention. A lot of it's hidden agenda. I'm not saying that everybody that's saying that they're mediums aren't possibly mediums. It's just, going back to, when I told you I was a PI, I'm real skeptical. I mean, even though that I've been doing this for a long, long time, I still deal with evidence, and I still deal with credibility, and I still deal with all that. And so I'm real skeptical of even the cases that I work. I guess maybe it's just because of the age that I'm at now versus where I started, that I've experienced a lot of the stuff that a lot of folks, that are in this field that haven't gone through yet, that they'll eventually get to that point, with the age and with your age and how the world works, that they'll eventually see it themselves. And I guess that's a lot of the frustration too, is, when we're dealing with folks that, are around our ages, Dave. And, we've already been there. We've already seen it, but sometimes you just can't tell people stuff. So, I just tend to do what I do and poke my head up every once in a while and, to see what's going on. And hopefully I don't get smacked with a whole blob of stuff and, put my head back down and go to work.
We have about 4.5 minutes here before we go to break. At the bottom of the hour, Peter Haviland is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Peter, tell us a story here where you used a psychic medium to help maybe solve a case or to help bring some closure to a family. Where did one really help you out?
Okay, well, I brought a psychic medium one time to work on a missing child case. And I had already gone out there, and I had already done all my due diligence as far as, I had gotten all the information of what the case was, what the police had seen and all that. And I had brought out the one medium that I normally use. And her reason for being out there was to try to tune in to the abduction of what had happened with this child. And
you're muffling up. You're muffling up again. Sorry.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, better now.
Yes.
Okay. So I brought her out there so she could try to get more information from the abduction. So I had told her that I just wanted her to concentrate on the abduction. I didn't tell her anything else about the age or anything. I just told her. But I did tell her there was an abduction. And there's many scenarios that an abduction could be, so I wasn't really worried about that. And I brought her over to talk with the mother, and she had gone into trance, and she brought up the exact clothes of what the child was wearing. She even saw what the pickup looked like, and she came up with a partial on the license plate, which all matched with the information that I already had. And they did end up finding her, and she was alive. So that helped out quite a bit. Is that what you're looking for?
No, I think that's great when that happens. Yeah. And God bless that the child made it.
Yes. Sometimes, most of the time, to be honest with you, it's not that cut and dry. And the last case I just worked right now, there was a missing vet that ended up committing suicide. That I was working on that case, and that was a pretty hard one.
Yeah, that's terrible. We only got about 90 seconds left before we go to break here at the bottom of the hour. In regards to psychic mediums, what's your thoughts then about those who will invest themselves in a case because maybe they are getting something, maybe they are getting a picture of something in their brain. They want to take that over to the police, and they're saying, without sounding too grotesque, the child or the missing person is deceased, and yet that child or person is found alive a few weeks later. I mean, what does that do to the credibility of the psychic medium?
Well, to be honest with you, the police really don't use mediums or psychics, and I really don't push. When I work with the police, I don't go that way myself. I only do that when I'm working on my own personal cases. So they tend to work on good old fashioned footwork, and that works fine too. Mediums are going to have a hard time going to the police, and if they are right, if there is if they do end up showing up deceased, they're prime suspect because they came up with the information. So then they're going to be part of the case, and they're going to be interrogated sometimes for days. And so you just need to prepare yourself if that's what you're going to do.
Peter Haviland is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We are talking paranormal, and in the next half hour, we're going to talk to Peter about the paranormal. Is it still popular? Has it taken a backseat to ufology? We'll get his opinion on this right after this. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com. A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to remind you that if you've missed more portions of this show or others, you can always go find them for free on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including reading up on the SOR Newswire, which is updated daily by Captain Shirk. Tonight we are talking with Peter Haviland. He is a paranormal investigator the last 30-plus years out of Houston, Texas. He is a private investigator by trade. He is also someone who looks into poltergeist activity. And with the influx recently of UFO chatter all around the world in the media to paranormal people, so on and so forth. Peter, I wanted to ask you about taking the back seat, the paranormal genre right now, taking a back seat to UFOs. This really hasn't happened in a long, long time, and everything is cyclical in this field. So should we be a little concerned that the paranormal side has really taken a back seat to UFOs in the last 18 months to 2 years?
I really don't think that there is anything to worry about. The researchers into the paranormal that are going to be researching will continue the research. I think what we are looking at is that there's a lot of TV stuff that, the paranormal shows, I think, really have kind of jumped the shark. And kind of what you and I were talking about a little earlier. I think that a lot of the production companies are going for the next big shock value, and I'm thinking that would be more demons, or maybe even running off of demons, because that I think it's the next one's demons, because it hits more people more at home. There's a lot of religious-based thinking and fear, so that kind of gets some people up and going. So they'll watch those shows. But then I think the next level that I think we're starting to see come in is UFOs. Are we alone out there? And that's always been a big question ever since Roswell. Well, even actually Aurora, way before Roswell. And me personally, I don't think we're alone out there. I think that I think that we would be crazy to think that as big as that outer space is, that there's got to be other places that have people as intelligent or more intelligent than us, and I think that if they are traveling to us, then they are more intelligent than us. I don't think that they're all malicious. I think that with everything else is that you do have people, you'd have folks that have a good side or have a bad side. I think it's all just I think you're dealing with different types of personalities as well as what we have. So as far as UFOs go, I mean, I would love to see, that we finally break that barrier to find out what we're dealing with. Now, there's a lot of folks out there too that think that, a lot of the things that we're seeing out there now on Earth is people that as aliens that have always been here. And now, when I say that, I'm saying because look at our oceans. We only know a small percentage of what our oceans hold, and there are people that are seeing unidentified submerged objects. They, and I see and I read that folks think that there might be underwater either cities or places that these UFOs are going, and it actually wouldn't surprise me since we really don't explore the depths of our oceans. So really, we don't really know what's down there. I mean, we're just now starting to see some creatures that people are starting to pull up that we've never seen before. So why couldn't that be a possibility? You and I were talking about Bigfoot a little while ago too, and where do they go? There are a lot of caves and cave dwellings out there that they're all a lot of them are all connected. Why couldn't he get through those? Why could how deep do they go into the earth? My other question would be, is that the smell that comes off of them? People say that it smells a lot like sulfur. Well, the deeper you go, the more sulfur you're going to smell. So could it be that they're traveling through the caves and smelling like sulfur? I mean, these are questions that I ask.
Do you believe that as you have grown as a paranormal investigator, that you do need to start, and other people out there need to start paying more attention to the field of ufology, even though they may not want to? Ghosts may be their thing. I got a buddy of mine, Mike, like that. He has no desire whatsoever to get into Bigfoot or UFOs or anything like that. Doesn't interest him. He's a ghost guy through and through. But on the flip side, is it more of a detriment to learn what the other groups are doing, or is it more of an opportunity to maybe learn about what is going on to see if there is a connection between everything?
I honestly think that there is a connection somewhere in all of this. I don't know quite what it is, but if you break it down into energies, I mean, energy is energy. So why couldn't they be? Why couldn't it all be tied in somehow? Now, I have a friend of mine that is a ufologist and also works with the abductees, Daryl Sims. I don't know if you've ever heard of him
yes.
Okay. Now, Daryl has told me that he's got pictures and video of what would look like a Bigfoot in a saucer. So that could be, we're talking about Bigfoot maybe being a multidimensional being. That could be a possibility. There's I don't know the word I'm looking for, but there's a lot of answers or a lot of questions. There's more questions, I guess, than answers out there of what all this could be. And I think that as time goes by, I think that we will get our answers. I really hope in our lifetime we'll start getting some of the answers, but it might be further on down the line. I don't know. You have to keep an open mind with all this stuff, but be skeptical. Once you have a closed mind, then you're not doing anything for the field. You have to keep asking questions.
Well, that's a tough one. Are we asking the right questions then?
We don't know. If we knew the right questions, then we would have answers.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But I think for a lot of people out there, we are still trying to figure out, how to investigate properly. I mean, a question like that is way too advanced, don't you think?
It is way too advanced. That's why you keep chipping away at it. That's all you can do. As far as what I see, as far as what I've experienced, you just try to build on your investigations a little bit more and try to push the envelope a little bit more to try to get the answers that you're looking for. There's a big wall on a lot of this stuff. I mean, that we haven't been able to break down yet. And I think a lot of it has to do with that. I don't think that our minds are ready to comprehend what the actual answer is yet.
Have you ever had a case where you have investigated where something has been blended, like the paranormal with a Bigfoot or the paranormal with a UFO?
Well, actually, yes, I have. The case that I was telling you about, Ken Gerard. I originally, I brought Ken in because it looked like that there were some things that were happening on this case that resembled some Bigfoot activity, and I did see that there were some footprints behind this place that resembled Bigfoot tracks. Now, they were also experiencing some paranormal phenomenon in this place. They were hearing and seeing masses moving along in this residence. And so I was pretty much working on the inside, and Ken was working on the outside. Now, some of the things that Ken had come across was that he did see what looked like I don't know what, like the bedding structure, the bent trees and stuff like that a Bigfoot would have. I don't know what you exactly call them. I don't want to call them a home, but, just a shelter. It looked like a shelter that he had seen before. Now, later on in the evening, he started doing some knockings, and we heard something in the distance that was that sounded like a tree knocking. And I looked at Ken, and he goes, yeah. He goes, that sounds like a tree knocking. And then all of a sudden, I heard the most ungodly wail that I've never heard it before, and I have yet to hear it again. But it I don't know how to describe it other than you just know that you've heard something that is just something that's not normal. I don't know how to describe it other than that. And the blood in my body just went absolutely ice cold when I heard it. And at some point in time, Ken and I and a couple of other folks that were there, we started hearing something walking through the woods that had a heavy gait. It didn't sound like a person. It sounded like something larger out there. And God bless him, man. Ken's kind of a smaller guy, but man, that dude's he's a wild man. He took off through the woods. I don't know what the hell he was going to try to get, but I tried to tell him before he took off. But I asked him, "What are you looking for?" He goes, "I'll know when I find it." And he's gone. He was just gone. I don't, and no gun, nothing. Just took off. And after about maybe 15 minutes, he came back, and he said that he smelled something out there, but whatever was there had taken off. I was worried. I thought I was going to have to call 911 on him. I had no clue.
Did he come back with his cowboy hat on?
Yes, he came back with his cowboy hat on. He made sure of that. He made sure of that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Between Ken and Lyle Blackburn, we got to protect those cowboy hats as much as we possibly can. As much as we possibly can. Make sure you bug Ken because he doesn't admit it publicly often enough, but he is Canadian, right?
I have no clue. I've never asked him.
Yeah. Oh no, he is. He is. He's absolutely.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He just keeps it nice and quiet. So make sure you bug him one day if you're giving him if you guys are giving a little bit of snark to each other, just saying, "Oh, rumor is you're not even one of us, Ken. You're a Canadian."
Yeah, that'll make friends and infamous people for me.
Absolutely. Let's get to Renee's question here in the chat room. Renee's down in New Zealand and listening on in. Renee is in the future, so you know, our Aussie and Kiwi listeners, we're always safe because we get to find out if we're still living tomorrow, and apparently we are. So,
well, that's always good news.
She's asking, Peter, what are your thoughts on why many paranormal groups do not like or want to share information between each other? What are they afraid of? Do you have thoughts on how to improve communication between paranormal groups?
Well, you know, a few years ago, Lloyd and myself and a few other people were trying to get a consortium together to try to get groups together so we could try to put together a server so we could start putting all this information into one place. And what we found out is that there's a lot of groups that they have different ways of doing things. They don't want to share information because they might be the only person that has availability to a place. Some of them are out there, as we discussed earlier, trying to hold back their best evidence for TV shows, either to get their own show or to get on a show, so they can get some recognition for whatever they're trying to do. A lot of things I've seen too is what people have is called paranormal unity, and it's a great concept. But from what I have seen and what other people have told me is that it's usually a bunch of like-minded people getting together, and it's like a clique. It's not so much of a research group other than, kind of a party type of thing. And, and not everybody's like that, but I mean, that's some of what I have seen, what I've been told and so forth. It really just depends on why you get into the field to do what you're doing. Now, if you're doing it because if it's something that you want to do for yourself, that's fine. If it's because you want to just kind of hang out with some like-minded people, have a party and stuff like that, that's fine too. But just know though, if you want to be taken seriously as a researcher, you have to be able to share your documentation. And if you post it, for instance, to get if you post a picture and want people's opinions, you can't get butthurt when somebody goes against what you have and they put their opinion up. If that's the case, then don't post your stuff, because all you're looking for is people to agree with you and not what people think of what it is. And I've noticed a lot of people doing that they will argue with you. They will, they will do whatever, to protect what they posted. When you put it out there to be looked at, you need to have that openness to accept criticism, and to accept different thoughts. Now, if somebody's just being a troll, boot them out. But if it's somebody trying to be, trying to talk to you and trying to, just discuss it, then you need to be open to that. That's the same with EVPs. That's the same with anything. Techniques. Everybody seems to think that they have, their own way of doing things, and that's how things are done. There are many different things, many different ways to do stuff. And, and that's one of the things that, when we're trying to get that consortium together, is that we were trying to, standardize on how to do things. Well, it became the biggest argument was who is going to be making the standards, and everybody wanted to throw their hat in the ring, but nobody would give us feedback or throw their hat in the ring to try to hammer out something. Everybody has their own opinions on it, and opinions are fine too. But but if you have to kind of look at what is the better thing to do to create that standard, and there's a lot of give and take. But I've just noticed a lot of folks that just don't want to go that far with it, and it is frustrating. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think it does thoroughly in regards to that, because in the end, it would be nice to have everybody working under, lack of a better term, some sort of paranormal union. But with too many different techniques, people not being able to understand how, different ways of investigation. Like you said, I thought you brought up a really good point there about, just the idea that so many people want to make sure that they hold on to that one piece of evidence or that one hot spot in case they get a television show out of it. I think there is common ground, though, to be able to solve those minuscule problems that people are blowing out of proportion.
Oh, I agree with you too.
We got about 2 minutes left.
Okay. Well, I agree with you as well. But you have to be able to be open enough to discuss it. It just seems like a lot of folks are just closed-minded that way and very cliquish. My team is my team. Well, yeah, your team is your team, but if you're looking to meld into a larger group, you got to kind of open up a little bit. But I don't know. That's kind of one of the reasons.
Didn't TAPS do that though? When they started getting big, they started their TAPS family, and some of the ways they did things there. Their teams hiding under their banner got very, very arrogant. Very arrogant, Peter.
Yeah, I dealt with some of those folks that you just couldn't talk to. But the folks that I couldn't talk to, I just didn't deal with. Life's too short to argue. You try to attempt and you just move on. Sometimes you just can't do it. I hate to say it, but sometimes you just can't.
It does suck. It really does, because you're trying to open up the minds and help people, and it's terrible when ego and everything gets involved. It really is. But there's nothing you can do at this point.
No, there's not. There's not. You just kind of look for the people you can work with, and then you expand from there. I mean, that's what we do. You deal with the folks you can deal with.
On that note, I'm going to get you to hold on here as we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Peter Haviland is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. 30 years he has absolutely been investigating the paranormal out of Houston, Texas, finding lots of cowboys. I'm going to find out next. I got to find out how many ghosts in Texas are actually wearing a Stetson, carrying a deck of poker cards. I don't know, Pete. Oh, I think you have, and you're just holding out on us. Peter Haviland is our guest tonight. We have him for another 30 minutes on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned. Hour 3 coming up with Peter, a SOR Newswire, and the Thought of the Day next.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to say hi to everyone listening in on our digital stations, Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Good to have you with us. We are also terrestrially broadcasting on KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, and we're on KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon. Don't forget you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Nomology. Nomology is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including getting daily updates from Captain Shirk on the SOR Newswire. For the final time tonight, we introduce paranormal investigator Peter Haviland. He is a private investigator by trade, looks for ghosts by night. 30-plus years in the field of paranormal, looking for everything from poltergeists to the mysteries that we are all trying to solve. Peter, welcome back to the show.
Great to have me. Thanks for not locking me out of the studio, by the way.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem. I almost locked myself out, but, you know, that's just the way it is. Sometimes that happens, sometimes not. But, you know, the main thing is I got my dog here, and he's here working. He almost locked me out. Really, he did.
Yeah, mine's sitting next to me right now. So, yeah, I understand.
I got the key. Good. It's kind of weird, though, because the past couple of shows that I've done last week, he showed up late for work. So I had to give him
what are you going to do?
I had to give him heck today. I said, you know, he was looking at me. I looked at him. I said, get to work. Get into the studio and get to work. And so...
Yeah, and I bet you got that look, too, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. I absolutely did. But nonetheless, his work in the studio on a nightly basis is to lay on the floor and sleep. That's what he does.
Wow, that's pretty much what they all do, really.
I know. It's a little ridiculous. Anyways, moving on back to the paranormal or ghost. You know, a lot of people always want to know about those scenarios that really, really affect you. Those that really hit you, whether it's the spirit of a child or something that absolutely freaks you out. Have you ever had a situation where you were like, no, I'm just not going there anymore. I've tried that, did not feel good, and I am just going to take care of myself from now on because something isn't comfortable in this situation?
Well, I've worked a few houses out in Galveston, which were 1900 storm survivors that I've come across, that I have seen the ghosts of children when turning a corner or looking in the wrong places at the wrong times. I've seen them show themselves as in how they died, kind of looking grayish, and anytime I deal with a child, it just tears me up. But that's the same thing too when I'm working a PI case, missing child case, and find out that it turns into be a recovery instead of a found safe, and it always hits me hard. So usually at the end of those cases, I pretty much shut down for a couple of days because I usually get real tight with the family, trying to get an idea of who I'm dealing with, and trying to get into their heads a little bit to try to look for them. So yeah, that's always real tough. The adults too, but more so the children.
Yeah, the children is a tough one for me. Even on my ghost tour, we deal with a couple of children on our tour, and it always makes me wonder, like, what caused them not to have a good life. But if we're going back, even 100 years, 70 years, the healthcare system wasn't very good. I could just imagine what it was like getting ill when there was no cure for diseases, in the 1800s and below that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, medically, as you were speaking, it wasn't the best of times. Thank God we're, more advanced now than we used to be. But yeah, I don't know, man. Life expectancy, way back then too, 30, 40 years old, you were an old man. I know. It's hard. It really is hard.
It really
I had a case that I was working at one time. It was a house in Austin that this lady contacted me saying that she had seen a redheaded child that was in her son's room. When she opened the door, it dissipated from the ground up, and she said that he kind of looked like you remember the old Buster Brown commercials?
Yes.
Okay, all right. She said that he kind of looked like that. So when I had gone up there, when I was interviewing her son, because he had also started talking about the boy, I think he was calling him Andy. I don't know if Andy was his name, but that's what he was calling him. So as I was talking to him, he was doing this. He had all these plastic dinosaurs, and he was naming all these dinosaurs, and as he was naming the dinosaurs, his mother would say, good boy, and then she would kiss him on the forehead. And at one point in time, I started hearing what sounded like a whirring coming down the hallway. And I kept on looking at the hallway because I'm trying to figure out what the hell's getting ready to come out. I didn't think it was going to be anything bad. It just, it just sounded strange. So I told her to have him, name the dinosaurs again, and he did. And she kissed him on the forehead, said, good boy. And I heard the whirring sound coming again, and I saw this little red truck, this RC car, come in, and it parked right next to where he was. Now, he didn't have the RC controller. It came down by itself. And I said, okay, let's do this again. So I picked it up and I moved it back down the hallway, and I asked her to do it, have him do that again. And he did. And she kissed him on the forehead again. And the truck comes down again and parks right next to him. And I said, okay. So what I did is I set it up between two EMF meters so I could try to capture when it fired off, and I put a microphone over top of it to see if I could capture any type of communication. And as I was videotaping it, what I was seeing through the eye finder is that it started to move as he was talking to the truck and calling it Andy, and he was just basically trying to get him to play, and he moved the truck, and I had a high EMF field hit the camera, and it went static and kind of jumped around, and then it came back up again, and it moved on its own without batteries in it, mind you, all the way around semicircular and parked right in front of me. And I have that on film, by the way. And when I had brought a medium up there with me, we found out that the little boy, he passed from consumption, and that's what he called it. And we ended up passing him, but he talked. He said a little bit of what he could about how he was feeling and how his chest was feeling, and all of the basically what the disease was. And you feel real bad about it because I forget what consumption was called. What it's called now. I think it's tuberculosis. I think that's what it is. But there was really nothing to do with it at that time. So you know how miserable that kid was. And when we ended up passing him, I'm just hoping that that he got he became clear of all of that, and he's doing what he needs to be doing wherever he went. But that was a hard one too, seeing that. Now, I could tell you that one of the other 1900 storm houses that we were dealing with, there was a person that was saying that they were hearing what sounded like people up in the upstairs attic, and we had gotten up to the attic to try to open it. We couldn't open it, and once we had said a prayer, we could then raise the wood plank that was covering the hole. And when it was raised, my investigator looked in there and saw 6 set of eyes. And he said one of them looked like the shadow of a child, and then they all dissipated. It was almost like we took them out of where they had passed from the storm waters, and then he just dissipated, and they never heard anything else from that attic after that. I guess it was unsealing it. I don't know.
Do you believe that when you go into a situation like that, that you have to go in prepared for absolutely everything? Because it sounds like you weren't prepared for the actions that happened.
Well, it's really hard to prepare for all of that. I can tell you that, you always prepare for the worst and hope for the best. I mean, that's what I do. It's not trying to be negative. It's just that you really don't know what you're walking into. Other than what you're being told you're walking into. Now, I'm not the type of person that I'm not a real big demon guy. I've just seen way too much of what we can do ourselves, and what's misunderstood as demonic activity to have ever walked into anything like that. Now, I will tell you here in a second about a case that I did work that was probably one of the only negative things that I ever worked with, but. I mean, I always say a prayer. We always prepare ourselves. That's just, like I said, that's just not going in there thinking that you're going to walk into any of that. As I said before, we're evidence driven. So I'm not going in there to try to prove a haunting. I'm trying to find out what we're dealing with. You always have to go through your list of stuff, and you always want to be able to, as you check that stuff off, narrow it down to the point that now that either that day or that week or that month. I've worked cases up until about a year. It just really depends on when you're there and when you can work it. What the case is going to end up being. Now, going back over to the case that I worked one time that I really think I was dealing with something negative. I had a lady call me that she said that she was experiencing sounds in her houses and stuff like this, sounds in her house, and just feelings of dread. And at that point in time, I was working with a priest, and she wanted us to come over and bless her house. So I brought the priest over with me, and he was going to set up her to take the Eucharist. So he's preparing the Eucharist, which is, the body of Christ. And he's calling in all of the saints and getting everything prepared, and he's in full vestment. And as he's doing this, I'm taking temperatures around him and around in the area. And as I'm taking temperatures, I'm getting temperatures that are going from 85 to 90 degrees. But on the wall, it's saying 70. And as he's still preparing and getting everything, getting the ritual all set up for to do the house blessing, it's even getting up to about 95 degrees, and I'm watching the priest. He's starting to sweat in his vestments, and he gets ready to start walking the house. And as he's sprinkling the house and going through the house prayer, you could just feel the energies. It's just thick, and we get to this one. We get all done with the house, and we get to this one room, and he wants to go in and bless it. And he hit it with the door, and then he tried to open the door, and he couldn't open it. I couldn't physically open it either, and neither could the lady. And then he said another prayer and put some holy oil on it. And he asked me to open it. And when I opened it that time, it did open. And so we went in there, and we found that there was an altar in there. It was a Santeria altar. And he blessed everything, and we walked out, and everything went back down to 70 degrees. So I don't know if what was there. That left, but from what I hear from her later on, that everything had left, and but I could tell you too that all of that heaviness and feeling of dread, unless everything just gone. And I've never ever dealt with anything like that before, and later to find out that her husband was very abusive to her. So she was using the altar to not only curse him, but she was also out of work. So she was asking for blessings for her to find another job. So after everything was blessed out and the house was cleared, things just changed in the house from what she said. But to me, though, that was the most darkest thing I've ever worked with. I never have had anything like that happen again. So maybe it was true evil, but I could tell you though, it was definitely not of positive nature, and it really freaked me out. It freaked out the priest too. And after that, he and I had a lot of weird things that had happened to us, health issues and stuff like that. Now it could have been just unfortunate circumstances, and that's very plausible. I just find it very, very odd, though, that everything was okay until that, and then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose on he and I, and it was probably for about 2 months. I mean, it just, if you want to believe in luck, we had nothing. We had no luck. It was like if it was going to happen, it happened. It was like Murphy just came in and sat at the dinner table. I can't explain it. Like I said, I'm not a big conspiracy guy. I never have been. But that was one of the weirdest things I've ever dealt with. Haven't dealt with it since.
Has it followed you around?
No.
Do you feel
not that I've noticed?
Do you feel vindicated by that?
I don't know. I'm relieved. At some level, yes. Vindicated, I don't know. No. I'm happy that we helped her.
Because I always am concerned when you're dealing with something like that you're going to be able to take it home with you, that it's not just going out into the universe or going to the light or heaven, hell, whatever you think. Mm-hmm. There's always a strong possibility that it moves from one person to the other.
I don't know how to answer that. I just know what we went through. I don't know what it was. I don't know if that's what happened. I'm just being honest. It's just a lot of coincidence. But, you know, I could tell you, though, I'm a very religious person. I just don't talk about it. So, you know, after everything, after all that happened and stuff, you know, I was always in constant prayer and praying over my family and stuff like that. And, you know, so, and I still do that to this day. But, I don't bring that into, the investigation any investigation when I go there, because I want to be clear ahead. And I don't want to jump to conclusions.
Don't blame you. We only got about 4 minutes left with you tonight, Peter, and okay. It's been a great ride tonight. That is totally for sure. And you know, I love chatting with you about investigations. If somebody out there was looking to get into the paranormal, and you know, they had a keen interest, maybe they watch TV shows or YouTube channels or listen to show like this, what's your advice for somebody who's a newbie to get into this field?
I would say study first. I would study where the study has been. Learn from the forefathers, because you don't know what to do until you know where we've been. So, and that'll also that'll also help you understand history, techniques, things like that. So you have something to build off of. Don't just jump into what the latest TV guy says, because you really don't know what the backgrounds of these folks are and what they base things off of. So work on you, work on your knowledge level. Always be open to asking questions. Always look for somebody that that you can ask questions from, and always ask questions of what you learn. There's no harm in if somebody tells you something, challenge them. Why do you feel that way? Why do you think that way? The person that tells you, you know what, I really don't know, but I can find you the answer. That I would listen to that person more than I would listen to somebody that says that they have all the answers. Because if they feel like, or they say that they have all the answers, chances are they don't. And then, me personally, if anybody wants to get in contact with me, to ask me of anything or help them in any way, they can always get in contact with me through lsspi.org.
Right. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. With about 90 seconds to go, where can people find your work? Do you have it on YouTube? You just mentioned your website.
Yeah, some of our stuff's on the website. We don't post a whole lot of what we do anymore, only because of issues with residences and stuff like that, because that's what we mostly do is residences. But I have no problem with answering questions or sharing anything or, forwarding over information.
That is fantastic. And what's up for your next adventures?
Well, I'm writing on my book right now. I'm working on a case with a girl that's got some possible poltergeist activity. I am working with a business right now that looks like there might be some intelligent stuff going on over there. And then I do see my hypnosis clients, and my PI business. So kind of got a lot of irons in the fire.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Well, you make sure you stay safe on these investigations, my friend. I know you do, but you never know where they're going to go. And keep pushing the limits, Peter, because I do believe, getting back to our earlier conversation, that there is a lot of ties between the ghostly realm, UFOs, cryptids like Bigfoot. I think people who are veterans in this field, who are bringing this to light, have to do a better job at getting that to the public, because there's something important there, my friend. So keep up the hard work.
I will do my best. And if I run across anything, I'll make sure I send it to you, Dave.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Peter Haviland is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We say a good night to him, because at the other side of the break, we get to the weird, the wacky, the SOR Newswire, and we'll bring you the thought of the Dave as well. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues after this.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today. Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to remind all of you that if you've missed most of this show or others, always remember that you can check out our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including checking out the SOR Newswire that Captain Shirk updates on a daily basis. Let's get to it, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire, the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, and the very current. I want to start off in Canada here, where, we've been following that story for a while, where those two young lads, Briar Schmigelski and Cam McLeod, were on the run for pretty much 3 weeks. Well, they were found dead last week after a 15-day manhunt. And it looks like the autopsy report has showed how they died. Apparent suicide by gunfire, according to the medical examiner. In a statement released, police said the autopsies confirmed the bodies found near Nelson River outside Gillam, Manitoba last week did belong to Schmigelski and McLeod. Officials said 2 firearms were found with the teens, who apparently died of self-inflicted gunshot wounds. The statement said it is unclear when they died, but that there are strong indications that they had been alive for a few days since last being seen in July during the extensive search efforts in the Gillam area. The discovery of the bodies concluded a 15-day manhunt that began in British Columbia and spanned about 3,100 miles across 5 provinces. Schmigelski and McLeod were the sole suspects in the murders of North Carolina backpacker China Deese, age 24, and her Australian boyfriend Lucas Fowler, 23 years old, and they were charged with the killing of Vancouver botanist Leonard Dick. Forensic analysis is underway to confirm whether the firearms are connected with the 3 homicides as well. McLeod and Schmigelski reportedly left their hometown in Port Alberni, British Columbia on Vancouver Island on July 12th after telling family members they were going to search for work in Whitehorse, Yukon. 3 days later, on July 15th, the bodies of Deese and Fowler, who were road tripping across Canada, were found in a ditch beside their broken-down 1986 Chevy van. On July 19th, Dick was found dead on another highway in British Columbia, some 300 miles away by Dees Lake. His Toyota RAV4 was missing, and a Dodge pickup truck had been set on fire about a mile away. Police determined that the Dodge belonged to McLeod, who had vanished along with his childhood best friend Schmigelski. The RCMP reported the teens as missing on July 19th, fearing that they had been killed or kidnapped by whomever committed the murders. However, they quickly turned to suspects. They do know this: the two killers' last meal was sardines, pork chops, and oranges before setting a light to the car before they had driven across the provinces. We're just glad it's over. Absolutely glad it is over. So we'll see where this goes. Let's move on here. A pair who broke into the house of a recently deceased man claimed to be ghost hunters said they were there because of rumors it might be haunted, a court has heard. Jason McCash and his girlfriend Naomi Ruth Howard, both 35, forced the back door of a property in Accrington in the UK on January 30th and found items strewn across the house. The hearing was told. Prosecutors Helen Longworth told Preston County Court that they later admitted to roaming around the house freely before being arrested at the scene by police. She said they claimed to be ghost hunting or pretending to be ghosts in order to frighten one another. Defense barrister Richard Dawson, representing Cash, said his client has a particular interest in the paranormal, and there were rumors that a body had been left undiscovered for a very long time. They were going to find it. Told the court the entire Lancashire area is a veritable hotbed of paranormal activity, including types from witches, headless specters, to ghosts and Roman soldiers and everything in between. The town of Accrington seems to have more than its fair share of paranormal activity, and on the night of January 30th, McCash and his girlfriend went to what they understood to be a property where somebody certainly had been deceased, perhaps murdered, and the body had been left undiscovered for a very long time. The rumors going around Accrington was that this might be a haunted house. He maintains in his account in interview that he has a particular interest in the paranormal and that both he and his partner attended the property pursuant to those rumors over the course of weeks and effected their own entry to explore. The court heard the owner of the house had passed away in December 2018 and the property was awaiting disposal. Yes. So apparently these two ghost hunters, looking for a body that probably is not there, decide to do a little digging on their own, and in the meantime they got arrested. By the way, there is potential that heroin may have been involved. Alcohol, too. Imagine that. Down in Puerto Rico, now I don't know if some of you are going to be upset about this. Puerto Rico's doubles bowling team was recently stripped of their gold medal at the Pan American Games over the weekend after one of its players failed a doping test. Jean Perez Faure tested positive for chlorthalidone, which is a diuretic that acts as a masking agent and is on the World Anti-Doping Agency's list of banned substances. Really? You're a bowler. You don't have to be in shape. Seriously, have you gone to the bowling alley lately? They're all built like me. Anyways, the procedures used to take and analyze the samples are being carried out according to the Pan American Games anti-doping rules that were approved by the World Anti-Doping Agency. When did bowling get involved with this? Like, bowling hasn't been popular since Pete Weber Jr.'s hair was standing about 6 feet high off his head before he went to the bad boy image wearing the sunglasses. Anyways, now I'm fired up. The decision meant the U.S. team of Jacob Butteruff and Nick Pate won the gold medal. Colombia and Mexico won silver and bronze, respectively. Out of 1,200 drug tests conducted at this year's Pan American Games, Foray had the second failed drug test. Dominican baseball player Audrey Joel Perez had previously tested positive for an anabolic steroid. The U.S. finished with the most medals at the Games with 293. Brazil was second at 171. Mexico was third with 176. Bowling. Steroids in bowling. Imagine the scandal. Using a little bit of Daradecabalin to get more spin on the ball, I guess. I don't get it. Let's head to Kenya. At this time of year, Albert Najuro's farm would usually be blanketed with shoulder-high rows of maize. But not anymore. Now the fields of grain are gone, replaced by 2 acres of bushy green maguka leaves, a potential legal stimulant that relieves fatigue. Maguka gives me lots of money. Farming maize or beans used to give me losses, says the 45-year-old farmer. As drought and erratic weather wreaked havoc across rural Kenya, a growing number of farmers are abandoning traditional crops like maize and rice for the more lucrative maguka. Najiro can make 30,000 Kenyan shillings, about $290, in just 1 week selling maguka, 5 times more than he used to make selling maize or beans. It is green gold, he says. A variety of khat, which produces a mild high when chewed. Maguka is fast-growing, makes it less vulnerable to large swings in weather conditions, and uses about half as much water as maize, Najuro explained. The strain grown in Embu County, home to his farm, is strong, and so consumers can buy less with the other popular variety, Mira, which is known to further north Meru. That is good news for maguka producers who's like Najuro, who says he was struggling to cultivate to keep up with demand. But it is bad news for food suppliers because, who thinks of eating at this time? Said agricultural experts and local politicians who warned of a potential food crop shortage as farmers clear their field of staples to make way for the popular maguka. Farmers are not interested in growing maize anymore. They want money in their pockets. Maguka is giving them that and a lot more since they can use the profits to buy more nutritious food, said Martin Mwangi, a member of Embu County's Assembly. But the long-term consequences could lead to food insecurity due to reduced production. Pointed out to neighboring Karinga County, where farmers are known for growing Kenya's highest quality rice. Water used for irrigating rice is now being diverted into maguka fields. I want to try some of this maguka. Sounds fun. Lord knows I have enough fatigue in a day. I may need to chew some of that. Descendants of genetically pure Yellowstone National Park bison, part of a herd in northern Colorado, will make their way to Montana tribal lands by way of Oakland Zoo. A small herd that started in 2015 with 10 cows at Colorado State University has grown to 77 animals. In July, 2 Colorado-bred bulls were shipped to the zoo's new 13-acre bison habitat overlooking the ocean. Animal scientists hope the bulls will breed with the cows from the 1800s herd from Elk Island National Park in Alberta, says Aaron Doggan Harrison, the zoo's communication director. The plan is of a program to return heritage bison to their tribal lands, specifically the Blackfeet Nation in northwest Montana. The Blackfeet Nation's Linney Initiative brought a herd of 89 Elk Island Park bison back to tribal lands in 2018. 4 Canadian and U.S. tribes comprising the Blackfeet Confederacy, the Siksika, the Kainai, the Pagan, and Blackfeet worked together to bring bison back to the tribal property near Browning, Montana. The herd is a living inspiration for members of the Blackfeet Nation, said Terry Laurie Dahl, who helped coordinate the project. It says it's taking away hardships. We will see the buffalo. It means the Creator gave us everything we need in the form of this animal. Very cool. Very cool. The buffalo will begin their long-standing efforts to restore buffalo to the historical mountain front rangelands. The Colorado buffalo are descendants of the wild herd that survived at Yellowstone in the early 1900s with the help of conservationists at the urging of President Theodore Roosevelt. Now, in the late 1800s to early 1900s, there was about 500,000 bison roaming in the United States. Of course, they were decimated, and now they seem to be trying to make a comeback. Good for them. Let's hope they do it. A black bear broke into a house in Colorado before escaping by smashing through a wall. The animal left a hole like a Kool-Aid man, police in the town of Estes Park said. No one was injured at the property where this happened, but the owners will now be looking at a significant repair bill, it seems. Don't know if that's covered by insurance. Describing the incident, attending officers said they visited the house after becoming aware of unusual activity there. Upon officers' arrival, said bear forcibly breached a hole in the wall like the Kool-Aid man and made its escape. Police said the bear, a species which could typically weigh in at about 550 pounds, had probably been attracted by the smell of rubbish coming from the property. So, reminder out to Coloradoans, for your safety and the lives of the bears, close and lock all windows and doors to your house and vehicles. Take the garbage, put it somewhere safe until it goes away. Make it a routine, and that way you don't get Kool-Aid man-size holes in your walls. You know, I wouldn't be complaining so much about the bear doing this as much as I would be about the shoddy construction of that place. How thin were those walls? Like, did he run through paper? Paper. Can't just do that. And finally, Heinz is offering to help a person who fears that the theft of a bottle of ketchup has led to bad luck. The thief took a bottle from a New Jersey restaurant, but when the person got into a car accident and experienced other misfortunes, he or she returned 2 bottles to the eatery with a note of apology. The note said the theft of the ketchup was the worst thing the person had ever done, but he or she was seeking to do something risky. Heinz offered on Twitter to pay for the damage from the car accident if the thief contacted the Pittsburgh-based company. The company said Heinz makes you do crazy things. Heinz posted Friday that it found the person whose identity they have promised to protect. A little bit of ketchup can go a long way. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. Tell me what's going on in your haunted house. Start off with Danielle on Twitter. There's the infamous sock gnome that strikes at least once a week. Ghost baby hasn't made a peep since the last child turned 3. I used to laugh at my husband chasing a giggling ghost down the hall in the middle of the night to find nothing. The cats keep everything else away. Raina, quiet today. Usually I hear footsteps and the scents they bring, but I got out of ICU a few days ago, and I think they're worried about me. Roy, otherwise known as Quest, in our chat room, says, I haven't experienced anything where I live yet, but last week a couple members of my circle was over and said the shower came on by itself during the wee morning hours. Also, my roommate told me one morning that he thought I was home because he heard the microwave come on. I wasn't there. Gave me a little bit of a shiver. Would me too. Very much so. Let's go to Gail. Missing spoons and a large jar of peanut butter, things disappearing and showing back up in plain sight. Tobacco odor or perfume wafting by, knocking on the outside wall. I'm on the 2nd story. The list goes on, and I really hate things without skin. J.A. Maybe it's Ya. My cutlery keeps disappearing. This month, we're missing 7 forks. Normally, I would say check my daughter's room, but she cleaned it up. Dorothy, not at mine, but at my daughter and granddaughter's. Granddaughter's bed shakes at night. Lights in her room flicker. Things move on their own. Heard her friend she had over saw an apparition and they see orbs in the room with the naked eye. My granddaughter is going to be 14 in December. She has been playing with a Ouija board at her friend's house recently. My daughter doesn't know what to do. John, nothing in this house I'm in now, but plenty in the old house I lived in during the mid-'80s. And he leaves us hanging right there. Jennifer, this is kind of funny. Jennifer states, a woman sitting at our dining room was seen during the night. I had a super bizarre night one evening, woke up to the house feeling very odd, had an instant feeling of fear that something negative was nearby. The night proceeded with banging noises, restless sleeps by my children, and one of them even had all of their bedding removed from their room and put into another room during the night. That's pretty much it. Nothing too crazy in this house. But Jennifer's mom responds. Tracy says, Jennifer, this is why I will not stay at your house. That's kind of funny. Dave creaks and moans. Wait, that's just my bedroom. Oh, you sick, sick man. Ron, I've got a small fox-shaped shadow that runs around my basement and sits on top of the staircase until you walk towards it. Gabe, who needs ghosts when the neighbors are worse than demons? Alfred, walking up the stairs when I'm the only one home, knocks on the wall, shadow man who looks like Zorro. Jamie, this place is now clear thanks to help from a friend from the coast. We have days worth of crazy stories from all the very old places I've owned and fixed up. Chuck gets the final word. Things are pretty dormant at the moment, I should say. Just items moved here and there, the lights turning on and off, and the scratches and knocks on the walls. Now, 2-3 years ago, my place was off the charts. Wow. Actually, let's sneak corals in here. In the 90s, my family returned back to our home after making funeral arrangements for my dad. After opening the kitchen door, the whole place permeated of Old Spice aftershave, a scent I remember him using since I was a little tyke. I like to think that was his way of saying he's okay, but goodbye. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Dave today. We will do it again tomorrow on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Make sure you check it on out. I want to read your response on the air, that is for sure. Big thanks to Captain Shirk for getting all the news director together for the SOR Newswire. You can find it all at spacedoutradio.com. And we want to say a big thank you to Peter Haviland for coming on in, telling us some ghost stories about poltergeists and what he thinks of the state of paranormal these days. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Special thank you to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms on Spreaker, the SOR Space Travelers Club on Facebook, Revolution Radio, and on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio, wherever you may be. Thank you so much for sharing your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home.
Don't make a mistake. We're watching.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for a great show and being all a part about it. See ya. Bye-bye. Good night.